Hey, man, he was in my face.
Up in your face. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. I don't have friends. I got family.
Yeah, vroom, vroom. Welcome back to Fast Friends, the No Dunk Summer Podcast series where we've decided to watch and break down every action film from the Fast and Furious franchise. Why? Because we're loco, man. I'm still J.E. Skeets, ready to discuss Too Fast, Too Furious with our double F expert, a man who's always hungry, Trey Kerby.
Heyo!
Hey, yo. And we've got our super producer. We're going to call him the Jimmy of the bunch here, tinkering under the podcast hood. It's JD.
Hello, yeah, I wore my mechanic shirt today.
Yeah.
I was inspired.
Very nice.
If you're back listening to Fast Friends, thank you so much. I guess you enjoyed us talking about the original movie enough to join us again here for the sequel. Thanks to everybody who tweeted at us and emailed in, and most importantly, left us that 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, or finally decided to subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. Much love. JD, do you have a Corona today? I decided against it because we got no Dom.
Yeah, exactly. A great point. I don't have any. I forgot, actually, that we were going to do that, but then you pointing that out just let me off the hook, so thank you for that. Yeah,
right.
So no, Dom, what's the point? In fact, did we see any Corona in this movie?
Not a single Corona was consumed.
Wow.
Not a single Snapple was consumed.
Tells you all you need to know.
There was a few Pepsi product placements I noticed. I did see that. I should have grabbed one of those, but I hate Pepsi. Ugh. No
Can't
thanks.
drink it down here in Atlanta. They don't let you. They don't even sell it.
That's right. That's right. So we are going to get to Too Fast and Too Furious. But, TK let us know in the last episode of Fast Friends that there's this 6-minute short that details the events prior to the sequel where runaway fugitive Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker, of course, leaves LA in order to evade police capture. This thing is on YouTube. You can look it up. It's called the Turbocharged Prelude for Too Fast and Too Furious. It's so turbocharged, TK, that there's no goddamn dialogue in this thing.
No time.
It is so weird. It is really pointless. I watched it twice because I was like, what did I just watch? Let me run that back. Yeah, I know. Just for those that have never seen it, like the plot of this little short is so simple. It's Brian packing his bags, leaving LA before the cops arrive to arrest him, which we got to get into because I got a bunch of questions about that. The FBI launches a national manhunt for him. He's traveling across Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. What's he doing while he's going across the country? He's winning every damn street race he goes in. For sure. He's got a red Dodge Stealth. Where'd that come from? Who knows? However, he's forced to ditch his car at a motel in San Antonio when police officers, they find out he's there. They're notified of his presence. It's so ridiculous. When they collect his car, perfect timing, he manages to hitch a ride from an unknown woman that he's seen at the diner.
Yeah.
You know, they've traded a look with each other. She knows that he's a fugitive, I think, that he's on the run. Well, yeah, she definitely does.
Yeah. She has the paper.
She's got the paper, yeah.
She reads. She keeps up to date in the news.
This unnamed woman drops Brian off at a used car lot. Okay, buys a car, he modifies it, he paints it silver, and then he travels to Miami, where he sees somebody's wheels before the screen reads "to be continued." That's it. That's the 6-minute short. I guess one question: Why did they make this? Like, what was the point of this, TK?
I told you didn't need to watch it, Skeets, and you went and watched it twice. I've been a fan of this franchise for 20 years, and I think the first time I saw it was last week, just getting ready for this podcast, and I was like, wow, there's a reason nobody talks about this, because nobody talks in it. I suppose you do learn 3 things. Brian left because the cops were chasing him.
What?
Not sure how the cops knew to chase him.
Yeah.
Not sure why he didn't just tell him some kind of lie.
Yeah.
The last time I saw Dom, he had a massive gun and he threatened to take my car, so I let him. You probably could have gotten away with something there. We also learn how Brian got his Skyline. Okay, I mean, that's good to know. He barely drives the Skyline in the next movie. And we also learned that Brian does have a rep, or at least why he has a rep as a street racing legend, going from coast to coast, winning. Again, we had just seen an hour and a half of Brian being a baller driver.
Right.
We don't necessarily need the origin story of Brian being a good driver if we already know that he's a good driver. This is a weird one. This is a weird one.
So
Sickos
weird.
Only.
JD, what did you make of this thing? Like, I guess it appeared on the DVD, and then maybe they released it in theaters like right prior to Too Fast, Too Furious, or I don't know. Maybe it aired. I don't know. It's a little confusing where the hell this thing actually aired.
Yeah, I heard that it was a DVD extra, which made me think that they must have shot all of this for the movie, right? Like
for the sequel.
No, well, for Too Fast, Too Furious. It was part of the movie.
Sure.
That's what I thought. And they were like, well, we can't have all of this, him driving across, the story starts in Miami. So that's what I figured, because otherwise, for them to just go out and make this, like, from scratch is... How expensive would it have been? I mean, how many races were there? I mean, you got Minka Kelly's in it, for Christ's sake. It just made no sense other than, hey, we got this footage, we might as well, make it a DVD extra. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. But who knows? It's a crazy universe. This Fast and Furious world is just strange. And
you got to know the lore. How could you possibly watch the second movie without knowing how Brian made his way from coast to coast getting cars? But you're right. The only way it makes sense is if this should have been like the opening scene of Too Fast, Too Furious. Like, it at least links up there. But like you're saying, imagine they started a movie with this 6 minutes. People would leave. See ya.
Yeah.
No talking. We're out of here.
Yeah, it's so bad. Again, still confused why he couldn't have come up with a lie to the actual cops. Like, Dom had me at gunpoint. I had to give him my car. Like, done. I think they would have believed it, But instead, he's on the run, leaves his badge in the bathroom. Just hangs it on the corner of the mirror. Though I laughed out loud. The reason I actually watched it the second time, he has cars in his bathroom. This guy loves cars so much. He's got a few photos of cars, like paintings of cars.
Can't stop.
Can't
stop thinking of cars.
Shower. Anyway, it's really pointless. TK's right. You do not need to go watch this by any means. But if you're listening to a podcast where we're talking about a movie 20 years later, why not?
Sure.
Sure, you got 6 minutes to spare. Okay, let's get to Too Fast, Too Furious. Released in the U.S. on June 6th, 2003. Budget basically doubled, right? $76 million for this one. Box office, it did $236 million worldwide. I think that's pretty similar to the first one. The skinny, I mean, we sort of already told you where it's going, but former cop Brian O'Connor called upon to bust a dangerous criminal with the help of a former childhood friend and street racer who has a chance to redeem himself. That is Tyrese. He's in it. Paul Walker, of course, Eva Mendes, and many others that we'll get to. Directed by John Singleton. I did not know this at all. JD, did you know that the famous director from Boys in the Hood did this movie?
Yeah, no idea at all. I would never have guessed after watching the movie that John Singleton directed it, but there you go. I mean, hey. He's versatile, I guess,
I guess so. I mean, I hope they paid him a lot of money for this. I'm assuming they did. Trey, before we get into the actual plot and the recap of the movie, what do you remember about the first time you saw Too Fast, Too Furious?
This would have been after my sophomore year of college. I'm pretty sure I saw it with my college girlfriend at a theater in Lamont, Illinois. But Skeets, you were listing off all these stars. Paul Walker, Tyrese, Eva Mendes, directed by John Singleton. No Vin Diesel!
No.
And that's what I mostly remember about this movie, being less hyped to see this without Vin Diesel, being more excited. I'm not sure. I've seen conflicting information on if he was doing Chronicles of Riddick or Triple X at the time, but I was very excited for Triple X to be coming on. But I still wanted to see this in theaters because I was a Paul Walker fan. He was great in Varsity Blues. He was the star of the first Fast movie, but I had to pull deep for these memories. Not nearly as vivid as the first one. Wasn't doing burnouts in the parking lot afterwards. Had somewhat different interests being a sophomore in college. So it just didn't hit the same, man. Just hit different, and not in a good way.
Yeah, well, again, we'll grade it later on. I guess, this movie's notable sort of because of who's not in it. Not only Vin Diesel turning down this role, and something he said he regrets now. He said he hated the script though, and all that. And fair enough, maybe. But Ja Rule too, not in this. And I read that he was supposed to be. They offered him $500,000 to be in Too Fast, Too Furious, and he turned it down. He thought he was worth more, and so that is why it ended up going to Ludacris, who. I don't think I'm wrong here. He ends up sticking around, does he not? Ludacris is in a lot of these movies.
Oh, yeah. I think this was maybe his first or one of his earliest acting credits. Yeah. He's still Ludacris at this point rather than Chris Bridges as he would become. But yeah, this kind of like launched him. And I think the story goes that Ja Rule could have had the Ludacris role. But he didn't want the Ludacris role, right? He wanted the Tyrese role. He wanted to be not a secondary character, like one of the stars of the movie. So he's either saying, yeah, maybe pay me a little more, give me a bigger role, or pay me a little more and I'll take this role. Either way, talk about your all-time major backfires. Ja Rule. Ooh, would have paid off in the long run to stick around.
Oh, exactly. I mean, I said this to Nora, this little fact, and she's like, well, Ja Rule was probably at the height of his popularity in the early 2000s. I mean, he was like, it felt like he was on every, radio station playing any song. He was like a featured guest on so many songs or whatever. I was like, yeah, I guess he was big, but still. And he just turned down $500,000 to like be in like, what, 8 scenes in this movie? Like, Ludacris is not in it all that much.
Not a ton.
He's actually pretty good, and I like that he sticks around for this series. But yeah, Ja Rule. Ooh, I'm sure he wishes he had that one back. Anyway, let's get into the movie. Starts with a Universal logo turning into a wheel.
That was pure cringe right away.
Really?
Right away, I was just like, oh, God, no.
Here we go.
No. And I like it when movies do that. I like it when the logo morphs into something. One of my favorite movies of all time, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Columbia Mountain becomes the mountain in Columbia or wherever they are.
Right.
Which was awesome. I love that stuff. But this time it was so over the top and looked bad. It just like the CG, whatever the animation of it was awful. Like, and then it just after everything, it just dissolves into a wheel. I mean, what was the point of it? Yeah. It's just like and then immediately after like a couple of frames later, the animated swirling Too Fast Too Furious comes in, and that was like a complete laser tag match. We're like right there, like it's like okay, we get it.
They're just showing off. We got a bigger budget. Let's go. We got some money to play with here to throw into these logos and these fonts and this intro. All right, so it does basically start, and we'll go through this sort of scene by scene again. We can all jump in. We'll eventually get to the fast portion of our show, things we like, our favorite quotes, favorite cars. The furious part, things that upset us, things that made no sense. We got. We'll turn to one of our wives for one of their questions when we go to. It's all about family on this podcast, and then any random observations that we have, but. Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker, he relocates to Miami. We're right there. And we learn that he's making a living, participating still in illegal street races. He is driving a heavily modified silver Nissan Skyline GTR.
How did he get it? Hold on. How did he get it? I just remembered the first time I saw this in the theater, I was like, where did Brian get his car? I didn't know about the short at that point, so kind of ruined it for everyone.
Yeah, he ended up buying it in a garage and flipping it. The races are organized by his local mechanic friend, Tej Parker, who is ludicrous. And we're sort of quickly right into a race. That's what the Fast and Furious franchise likes to do, at least so far, through 2 movies. And we get this race set up. My favorite part is Ludacris. He won't start a race with only 3 drivers. Gotta have a 4th. It's like a rule. It's like, we gotta have a 4th. And that is where he calls Brian and says, hey, get over here. You got 4 minutes.
You got 4
this guy
minutes.
loves the number 4. Like, why? And he gets there, and he ends up winning this race, and a lot goes down in this. So let's get into this first one. JD, get us started. What did you think about the opening to this movie and, the first race sequence?
Well, the first thing about the race is they up the stakes to 35 large. So that means that everybody's putting in $35,000, and so that the winner is walking away with $105,000.
Oh, that's funny you asked that, because why are they so hell-bent, like Suki, one of the female driver in this, she's like racing for second or third at one point. Maybe there's a payout structure, JD? Is it possible?
Possible, I guess, but I was blown away, and I was to the point where I Googled 35 large, like, what is it? Is that what I think it is? Because all these years I thought large meant thousands, so $35,000. So you're Orange Julius. Awesome name. Probably the best name in the franchise so far. Orange Julius is like, hello, I didn't agree to upping the stakes to $35,000. Can you imagine? Okay. He just has it on him. They all have it all of a sudden. And what was it before? Anyways.
I think, doesn't Brian say something like, let's bump it a nickel? So he's raising it $5,000.
Okay,
so they were all showing up expecting to race for $30K.
Right.
Brian shows up and says, let's race for $35. And I think it was Orange Julius. It was like, I don't know, too rich for my blood.
Yeah.
You showed up ready to race for 30, but 35, you're like, I don't know. That's just a little bit too far. But also the first race in the very first, The Fast and the Furious, they're racing for $2,000 a piece. That's the entry fee. And honestly, like, you can tell so much the difference in these two movies from this first race. A, they're racing for 20 times more money. That's huge. B, there's 20 times more racing. We're not racing a quarter mile at a time here. No. They're driving like laps at this point. They're swerving left and right. There are corners. There are things to turn around. There are passing opportunities. Yeah. And of course, Ludacris has a surprise in his back pocket.
Yeah.
I gotta say, too big of a surprise. If I'm being quite honest.
It's a huge surprise.
Again, Orange Julius being the voice of reason going, no, I am not jumping over this bridge that we never discussed. This was not discussed. We're gonna go over the bridge, and that's the finish line, but Ludacris is raising the bridge, so now we're Dukes of Hazzarding it over. Yeah. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. That's how I would be. That's how I think everybody would be. Yep. Just slam on the brakes.
100%. Yeah, you're right. You nailed it there, Trey. It's a hell of a race, to the point where they're like, there's a quick shot of them like shutting down streets, like with like caution and like pylons, like can't go down this. So they've mapped off this portion of Miami, and then broken into this, like, I don't know, what would you call that? Control center for the drawbridge or whatever. The
exactly.
building.
Sure. Yeah.
And they go in, and they crank it up, and this is when we get the first, like, what the hell, where the car jumps over the car. I mean, Brian's car, with the help of Nas, jumps over. Who does he jump over there? Slapjack? I can't remember who he's racing.
Is it the guy that was racing? Is it Slapjack? It's Slapjack. I think it's Slapjack. Suki and Orange Julius versus Brian.
Yep.
Yeah, because we get a big chunk of the race where OJ is battling Suki again. Like, we get a lot of, like, it's like, for a second I thought I was watching an F1 race. It's like, why do I care so much about who's in third and fourth in this race?
Gotta get the points.
I know. I think so. So it is Brian that jumps over Slapjack, again, with the help of the Nitro booth. And man, it's like, this is where we're going immediately with the franchise here. Because I felt like the first one, now, it's ridiculous, as we talked about, but sort of realistic. At least what's going on. And this one, we got cars jumping over cars jumping onto boats, and it's like, okay, I've seen the trailers for the movies as this series goes on. It gets crazier and crazier and crazier, and it's like, okay, we're right into it. Is that fair, TK, to assume that?
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned it earlier. The budget doubled, and you can tell, right? Yeah. Like, it looks a lot crazier. Things are a lot more hyped up. There's a lot more flash all around. The first one was kind of a smaller movie, the gritty in and out of the LA street racing scene, and now it's the glitz of Miami, and, everything's bigger and badder at this point. From the payouts of the races to the actual races themselves. I love that anytime a race ends, the way you really congratulate people, what's up? What's up? What's up? That's how you know you won. Brian's throwing mad what's ups as soon as he comes across the finish line. Yeah. Brian's back. Bullet. They're calling him Bullet now.
Any scene where they're out of their cars and there's 100, 200, 500 people around, and those people 50 yards away can hear their conversation perfectly, despite there being like the loudest cars imaginable, all these sound systems bumping. It's like everybody can just hear what these two guys are saying and then are reacting accordingly. It makes me laugh every time. Because we did get a quick hell of a sound system product placement there at the beginning, before the race. We like panned to 3 different cars to see see what they had in their trunk there, or wherever you put those in your... I think they go in your trunk. I don't know. I know nothing about cars. Sure. Anyway, crazy race to get us started here. And this is where we get our first introduction of Eva Mendes, who is, we learn, is Monica. She's an undercover cop. But they have a look, JD. And you know, there's a lot of... like, I don't know, the chemistry between Brian and then Monica, this love relationship, I guess, or this attraction to each other. I mean, as the movie goes on here, we'll get into each scene, but it's like just instantaneously, I guess. You just fall into those Walker eyes.
You can't help yourself.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, and Eva Mendes, no slouch as well.
Beautiful woman.
You know, so it makes sense, although I wouldn't go so far as to say they have chemistry. I mean...
No,
it was very hard to tell the nature of their relationship. And did they recognize each other at the very beginning, or was it just like, oh, there's a hot woman staring directly at me right now?
Right at me.
Okay, all right.
All right, I still got it. I guess even in these baggy shirts that I'm wearing down here in Miami, the chicks still dig me. All right, so...
I mean, they really do make use of Paul Walker's eyes in this one, right? There's several scenes of him staring, and I guess when you got him on the payroll, you got to show those.
Gotta use those digits, man. So after this crazy race scene where he gets this huge payout, gives his buddy Ludacris some money. I know we're gonna be doing this thing like we did with Dom and Vin. I know it here with especially Ludacris, and his name is Tej. That's right. Yes.
Tej.
Yeah. He pays him off a little bit. Anyway, the cops show up, of course. Just like the first one. Exactly like it. Here they come. And Brian is arrested, though. And he's taken into custody. And you're like, well, where is this going? This is where we see the first Harpoon, right?
The first electronics grappling hook or whatever that thing is.
Oh, my God. I mean... Fast and the Furious franchise movies so far, 2 for 2, and Harpoon's playing a big part. First with the trucks, and now it's with like cops firing them at cars to like what? I guess like screw up the
electronics.
The electronics, yeah. It's
I
insane.
guess.
Yeah, apparently, this is going to blow your minds. Apparently, that device doesn't exist in real life. That's a movie invention, believe it or not.
Okay. So
no taser for cars.
No taser for when your car's really acted up, just blast it.
That's what it is. You're right. So they're taken into custody. He's taken into custody. But he is given a deal very quickly, I might add, by his former boss, FBI agent Bilkins. He is back, baby. Very excited about that. And a new character, U.S. Customs Agent Markham. They say to Brian, you got to go undercover again, man. We need your help again. I know you're on the run. There was a full-blown manhunt for you. But hey, man, we need you because no cars. And yeah, what they need is help with is bringing down this Argentinian drug lord, Carter Verone. In exchange, they will clear his criminal record. Like, not a bad deal. And again, they got to it so quickly in the movie. They're like, we got you, you're under arrest, need your help, buddy. And he's like, okay, let's do it. So that's where we meet Agent Monica Fuentes, who's Eva Mendes, excuse me. She's undercover. She's under Verone there. She's been there a year, they tell us. And she agrees to assist Brian, fold him into the organization. But. They say you're going to get this cop, this guy named Dunn, all right? Drinking a Slurpee or something. And Brian's like...
Be a little more professional here, Dunn.
Yeah. And Brian just tests him right away. Like, tests him on his engine knowledge. And he fails. He has no clue. Yeah. And so Brian's like, we can't do that. I'm not doing it with this guy. This guy doesn't know shit about cars. So he agrees he'll do it under the condition he gets to pick his own partner. And this is where we then, of course, get to Roman, to Tyrese. But yeah, were you excited to see Bilkins back in the mix, JD? I legit was.
100%. I love Bilkins. I can't remember if he sticks around though. So yeah. But he's a great character. He's awesome. He's a likable guy. He's just his old boss, and it seems like he's in his corner somehow. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Which is nice. It's nice to have that Paul Walker has somebody in his corner.
I thought he was like used a little bit more for comedic relief in this one too. Yeah, because like even like the fight scene coming up here, he's like, "Oh, let me eat my sandwich and watch these guys throw down." Yeah, he's got all these little quips. He's just loving it. I've got to help this guy. This guy's such a great driver. We're gonna help him out. But yeah, TK, anything to add from this setup here? Seeing Bilkins again, Monica, the whole setup where we're gonna eventually travel and find Roman.
Not too much. I do like how quick they get into it, and I definitely had oh shit, it's Bilkins! I kind of forgot he came back. Maybe he keeps coming back every single time. He knows one good driver in all of America. Anytime there's a job with driving, he's like, well, we're going O'Connor again. I guess we're going O'Connor. Find him wherever he is.
Yeah. It is like a little strange. Like, wouldn't that have been the perfect spot to like tie up loose ends in the sense of Bilkins, like, hey man, what happened out there with Dom? Like, like just something about the past, like at all. Like you could.
It was kind of just like, here's Bilkins. Remember him from the first movie? These movies are related. Yeah. But he doesn't give you much backstory. Like that would have been a perfect a perfect place to basically do the prelude, right? And say, so what happened? Oh, I drove all the way across America, winning races, or whatever he says. Blah blah blah. You get 6 minutes of wordless dialogue taken care of in like 3 scenes or something like that. But there was definitely more to be done there. But it was all worth it for Brian to show Dunn that he knows absolutely nothing about motors. Are you kidding me? Of course, you remember Brian when he was getting into undercover street racing. Almost drove his car off a cliff the very first time. Looked like a super amateur. But this guy's like, no way. Totally big timing him.
That's true. I forgot about that he was just practicing driving in an empty parking lot or racetrack or whatever, and loses control of the car just trying to turn a corner. So
shit.
Yeah,
he's pissed.
That's a good point. All right, so we're not taking Dunn. I need my guy. So this prompts Brian with Bilkins to travel to Barstow. Where is Barstow? I thought it was in California.
I think they said South Carolina.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I think.
I'm positive there's a Barstow, California, but I'm sure there's many other ones. So yeah, it was a little unclear. Anyway, they go there. He enlists, Brian does, the help of his childhood friend, Roman Pierce. This is Tyrese, who we learn served jail time for housing stolen cars, and he's currently making a living as a demolition derby driver. Quick pause here. JD, you ever been to a demolition derby match? You haven't? Wow, you grew up in Ontario, man.
I know. It's it's not something I've ever thought to go to, but they have them all over Ontario, don't they?
Oh yeah. My Uncle Al, like not every weekend, but it felt like maybe once a month or something like that. And I'm sure it wasn't even that much because I was a kid. It was probably like around the fair, so it probably happened like once or twice. But he would go in it. He won once,
really,
which was awesome. Yeah, and I was a little bit older, and I had like helped paint the car, so it felt like I was like a part of the team and stuff like that. They are fun. TK, did you ever go to any demolition derbies, I guess they're called?
Like once a year. Yeah. Just like you. Yeah, exactly. The Sandwich Fair was the fair that we always went to. And that was like one night's event was a demolition derby. And the next night was like a past their prime country star. So you could go see, like your your friend's dad just like smash a car into your other friend's dad. And then the next night go see Charlie Daniels. Great times. Wow. Great times.
Oh, awesome. That does sound fun. Okay, so that's where we meet Roman. He's currently on parole. He's got what do you call it?
The bracelet or the ankle guard or whatever.
Yeah,
is that what you mean?
I thought there was an actual term for it, but yeah. It's
monitor.
Keep monitor, I guess. Yeah, it's strapped onto his leg there. And then these two guys, Brian and Roman, they got history, and they get into a fight. And Roman blames Brian for his arrest, but he reluctantly agrees to help in exchange for basically the same deal Brian has, like get this thing off me and clear my record, and Bob's your uncle. What did you make of their chemistry in this movie overall, TK, between Roman and Brian, Paul Walker and Tyrese? Believable?
Believable because I think Tyrese is so good. I think he's got like so much charisma in this movie. He's got the gift of gab, and I think that brings the relationship a long way. Because I don't necessarily know that, or I don't feel like you get the sense that these guys are like Dom's crew, where they've known each other for 20 years before we're seeing them together for the first time. I don't feel like that you do get that sense, but they definitely have an ease amongst each other, you know, going back and forth, joking with each other, the rapport that they have. And I think a lot of that comes from Tyrese. He's great. I think he's the best part of this movie. He's the funniest guy. He gives the best performances. And I think it's him that really carries the relationship.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to imagine Ja Rule, or even Ludacris for that matter, in Tyrese's role in this movie, which is actually pretty important. I mean, the movie's not all that good to begin with, but it would be brutal if that was the case, because Tyrese, I think, is awesome. I actually think they do have a pretty good on-screen chemistry, JD, a lot more than him and Eva.
Oh, totally. I was buying that love affair for sure.
Yeah, you think when they were younger, they dabbled.
Hey man, you saw them
experimented a little bit.
You saw them wrestling in the dust just like I did.
Wilkins was digging it too. I think he really enjoyed that demolition derby between those two hunks. They're rolling around in the dirt, got very, very muddy. But again, he agrees. All right, let's do this. Okay, for their mission, they're issued 2 confiscated modified cars, a Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution and a Mitsubishi Eclipse Spider GTS. Which one is which? God if I know. One's purple and one's, what is it, sort of a green, yellow?
Mustard maybe. And one's a convertible. And
the purple one is the convertible. That's the one that Roman wants. And we learn very quickly that they're bugged. That's a big part. That's so they can track them. The cops can. Yep. One of the cars has hater plates.
The purple one.
The other one just has a normal plate.
Just a normal license plate. And I think that Roman goes for the convertible, right? Because he says he says to Brian, "Don't even think about taking the convertible. It might loosen your moose." It might loosen your moose. I guess having the convertible top open, blowing in Brian's hair, letting those curls fly free. Wow. But there's a lot of convertibles in street racing movie, in these 2 street racing movies, and they seem like they would go slower, just from an aerodynamic standpoint. But I don't know. I also, I've been a little critical of the government with regards to how they've been spending their money in these first 2 movies. How about this? They just completely repossess these cars that we learned in the first movie are $80,000 to $100,000, and they just give them to these guys. They're like, "Hey, we just got these. They're totally conspicuous. You drive them. You drive them."
Yeah. And this is then we get the scene where Monica drives with them, right? Mm-hmm. She drives with Brian, and Roman makes a big deal of that. And we get the stare and drive line where he stares at her. Then you're back to your staring. Yeah, this is the whole part of this. Just because I guess he's showing that he's such a badass driver. He doesn't need to look at the road. He just feels where the stop sign is. Anyway, and it's to build this weird relationship, whatever the hell it is, between Monica and Brian that they share between each other, JD.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, again, it's just sort of, it seems like they're headed in that direction, but I never felt that it paid off. It was never clear to me that they were together or even liked each other. And that whole staring thing, taking a step back and knowing that Paul Walker died in a car accident, and I'm not saying that he was reckless about it, or whatever the circumstances of him actually dying in a car, whatever the reasons are, these scenes make me so uncomfortable when they're doing these just totally reckless, unnecessary, foolish stunts, basically. Mm-hmm. It kind of takes me out of the movie a bit. Like, I get that, it's all part of the world and stuff, but it's still, that part I was just like, made my palms sweaty. Like, just look at the road, man. That kind of thing. So
I hadn't even thought about that. Now you're taking me out of the podcast.
Oh, sorry.
JD. I'm just kidding. I have a big trip planned to Turks and Caicos later this year, so I've really been trying to work out a lot. Doing my push-ups and my sit-ups and my yoga and running. And I've been sweating my ass off. And when you sweat, the primary electrolyte, lost is sodium. Athletes can lose up to 7 grams per day. And when sodium isn't replaced, it's common to experience muscle cramps and fatigue. I am mad guilty with the muscle cramps. I don't drink enough water. Truth is, I don't really love how water tastes. Thank God for Element. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. I also love that it's a no questions asked refund type of thing going on at Element. You just try it, totally risk-free, and if you don't like it, share it with a salty friend, and then they give you your money back, no questions asked. You got nothing to lose here. I actually really enjoy this stuff. I drink Element every day now to support my workouts, my runs, and stuff like that. Favorite flavor? Ooh, give me the raspberry salt. It's delicious. Citrus, also good. And as a member of our community, Element has a very special offer for you guys. Claim your free, yeah, you heard me, free Element sample pack. You only have to cover the cost of shipping. That's it. Go to drinkelement.com/nodunks. That's drinklmnt.com/nodunks. A little soap, baby.
Look, as great as Devin Booker has been playing lately, I personally think he's dropped to 1 and 2 in pre-game fits for the finals. You may disagree with me, that's fine. Everyone's fashion tastes are different. What's cool one day might be a calamity the next. I know that's how it's been for me a few times. You rock an outfit one day, and it's flame emoji, flame emoji, flame emoji. Then that same get-up is trash can emoji only a few weeks later. But thanks to Indochino, that's less likely to happen in the future because their online shopping experience makes it easy to find a custom piece that makes you look and feel stylish, confident, and even sexy. Indochino offers completely custom-fitted suits, shirts, casual wear, and more at surprisingly affordable prices. Every piece is made to your exact measurements and you can customize every detail. I certainly did, and I'm getting a beautiful shirt delivered to my house. I can't wait to wear that one. You can choose everything about your suit, from the fabric, lapel, monogram, and statement linings. You can create a suit that fits you and your style perfectly, a fit for your preferred fit. Okay. Indochino is now open at select Nordstrom stores, giving you even more ways to get great fitting, personalized clothing. Find your nearest location at Indochino.com. Right now, you can get $50 off any purchase of $399 or more by using code NODUNKS at checkout. That's $50 off a purchase of $399 or more at INDOCHINO.com. Promo code NODUNKS.
Monica gets them in this organization. Roman and Brian. They're hired by Verone. Is it Verone or Veroni?
I think it's Verone.
I thought it was Verone.
Yeah, okay. And he gives them this task, the duo, to compete against rival drivers to obtain a package from a confiscated Ferrari located in a lot. Now, I was happy about this because I was like, this guy's an Argentinian drug lord, and he can't get his Ferrari back from the pound. I was like, what? But, it pays off because it's like, it's all a setup. It's all just a test. They race there, these henchmen that we'll get to know a little bit better, and a bunch of other guys. And then Roman and Brian, they're all racing to get to this Ferrari. And some of them get injured, and there's some trucks involved and all that. Some more faceless truck drivers.
Not the truckers.
Yeah, but Markham, mistakenly, he's the customs agent, remember, like the cop. He mistakenly thinks that the duo, Roman and Brian, are trying to flee. So he shows up at the lot because they get there first. They outmaneuver the other guys. They get there. They just bust through a gate to get there. And he basically starts shooting at them, right? Well, no, he doesn't shoot at them first.
Roman
shoots
Roman
first.
shoots.
Is a real
with no nothing. Just, oh my God, the cops.
Bang, 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 bang.
This whole sequence was so dumb to me because it's like, okay, let's get this cop. We need drivers. 2 drivers. Let's get them. They're outlaws. Okay, we'll put trackers in their cars. Okay, we're getting them to be undercover as drivers. Oh, sir. They're driving. I knew it. They're running. It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And then they end up at the pound, and where are the cars? It's all boats.
That's my
Where are the cars?
Part.
Where are the cars?
Boats.
And then the single Ferrari parked in the middle of the boats. And then they're like, okay, we go get it, and then call back to the hater license plate because I'm calling him Tyrese, but it's Roman. It's Roman. Takes off his shirt. Rachel's like, all right then. Takes off his shirt. Punches through the Ferrari's glass. Yep. They find the package.
Yep.
And then Paul Walker says, "Put your blouse back on." And then he says, "You're a hater." Just like, okay, fine. Then the cops show up. They're like, you busted through in broad daylight into the pound.
Yep.
Of course the cops are going to show up. And they're like, what the hell are they doing there? Roman, bang, 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 like right away without even like.
Yeah,
it's like, did you forget that you're working with the police? Like, you're shooting at the guy who literally hired you. Anyways.
Yeah, but he says, like, I had to do that because those other goons were there, so I had to show. I had to shoot at you to help maintain my cover. Okay. So yeah, that's smart thinking there. And he didn't hit him or anything. I think he just shot the car, or maybe he shot some boats behind them. I'm not sure.
It's all boats.
But you're right. There's a lot to unpack there, Trey, from this race to get there, which I definitely just glossed over, and then in this pound, and then the cop showing up.
Yeah, about the race to get there, we see our only death in this Fast and Furious movie when some rando decides to go underneath a semi-truck, and it does not go well for that fella. We also get an incredible stunt driving move from Brian. Turns his car around backwards to give the finger while going high speed. Incredible stuff.
Yep.
But it feels like a little bit of one hand doesn't know what the other one's doing with regards to this whole setup here. Like, Bilkins, get on the phone and let the people on the ground know. We got some street racers out there. Guaranteed they're going to be breaking some laws, but they're on our side. We're playing the long game here. They should have filled everybody in on the plan.
Oh, yeah. Like, it would have almost made more sense if the cop that arrived at the pound was some random cop that's like, oh, damn, they just broke in here and they just broke the glass of this Ferrari. And like, but it's Markham. It's the guy that knows the damn plan. Yeah, it's very weird. But I guess he thought they were fleeing, and he didn't trust them. Bilkins does. Anyway, Brian's able to, I guess, salvage this whole situation, and he tells Bilkins that Verone is allegedly aiming to launder his money in Miami before escaping on a private jet. Right? He relays that information, so he's got that. But we now get the guys. They got to go back to Verone. They have this package. They get out of this jam because Roman's just firing at the cops. And they go back. Oh, my God. We get the whole pool scene. We get really, Verone sort of like talking to them at the table there. There's a lot going on. At one point, we see Verone's like security system on an elaborate gold stand. Did you guys see that? It's like incredible. I wish I took a screen grab. I should have done it. Anyway, it was all a test, like I said. Verone was just testing them. It was all for a damn cigar that he definitely cut and maybe took one puff of, I think.
Not a lot of puffs.
Yeah, one, maybe two, and then gets rid of it. So this is where they're all sitting there at the table, and he's telling them, I was just testing you guys. Oh,
we did this all for a cigar? You did this for a job.
Yeah, that's right.
Great stuff.
Well, let's ask it here. JD, what did you think of Verone as a bad guy, as a drug lord?
Awful.
Awful. Interesting.
Oh my God. One of the worst villains ever, I would say. Like, so not scary. The most milquetoast, bland, zero personality, one-dimensional. I mean, I hated him. That's what I thought.
I found him a little scary. I'm not going to lie. Maybe, yeah. There was something like, look, he was the most cliche drug lord, silk shirts, mansion, fast cars, beautiful women. Anything I say goes. I've got my henchmen. Like, we've seen that 100 times in movies. But, I mean, I thought the guy playing him was I don't know. I was sort of scared of him. Wow.
This guy hates rats. He hates them.
I do not like rats. Yeah, we're getting to that in a second.
Listen, this guy made a huge point. Ended up killing at least one person just to get his cigar and his little cigar cutter.
Yeah.
And later in the movie, there's a torture scene. Why not use the cigar cutter?
Totally thought he was going to.
Yeah.
For sure.
He definitely should have. Instead, he brought a rat into a nightclub and a bucket.
Gross.
Very gross. Very stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this guy. Here he is, getting into his car. Look at what he's wearing.
Yeah, come on, JD.
That looks comfortable, though.
It looks very comfortable. But it doesn't look scary. Look at how packed his pockets are. He's wearing like an oversized silk shirt, linen pants, I'm assuming. And then look at him getting into the car. Look at his shoes. He's wearing Skechers or something. And like ankle socks.
Okay. I'm on JD's side.
Oh, that's attention to detail right there, JD.
This man's shoes. What are those?
Jesus. Well, okay, so in this scene, I forgot about this almost. Roman attempts to steal the cigar cutter.
Yep.
Wait, what? Like, hold on. Like, were we even told? Like, we know he has we know he's on parole. We know he's got a record, but it wasn't for even stealing cars. I don't think. Like that, he's not even like a crypto. Is that right? Crypto.
Klepto.
I got too much NFTs on the brain.
Yeah,
it's been crazy the last couple of months. Klepto, not crypto. I was so like, why is he stealing this? And gets caught. And then
I feel like a detective right now, reviewing my own notes to see if I can figure out what Roman Pierce went to jail for 3 years for. I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
I thought it was just for housing vehicles and like. Yeah. But maybe there's stuff being stolen. That was just so weird, that part. I
think it. I mean, I could be wrong, but are they setting up that the guy, he's good at lifting stuff, and at the very end of the movie, he's got all that cash stuffed into his pants without anyone finding out?
Yeah, that's the payoff, is it?
I guess. I don't know.
Does he say? Is that when he says that his pockets are hungry? Is that around the same time? Because that's obviously a callback later on. I should have wrote that one down.
So it's like, this is the equation of like, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Well, if you can steal a cigar cutter, you can steal a good, $50K from basically the cops out of a duffel bag. Spoiler alert. Okay. Anyway. JD's not convinced of Verone. Trey, you seem to come around after you saw his ankle socks and shoes. You don't think he's that intimidating?
Yeah, once you see a man's shins, hard to be scared of him. But I think you're both right. Like Skeets are saying, he's a cliche cookie cutter villain.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And, there are parts when he's menacing, but it feels like something that we've seen a million times before. And I don't know, maybe he's got too much stuff in his pockets. That's another one that's throwing me off. From the waist down, he's not scary. He's got very full pockets, very baggy pants, and a pair of Skechers.
Yeah, all right. Well, Brian and Roman, this is like a little side angle to this plot. They challenge a pair of muscle car drivers, same guys they raced when competing for Verone's hiring, for pink slips to their cars. Again, I love all these themes they keep running back here in the sequel. It's now we had what was the kid's name? I called him Mouse in the first one. Who was that? Jesse. Yeah. Putting the pink slip on the line there for his car, and then just drove off into the sunset after he lost. But anyway, we're racing for cars. And despite engine and power output handicaps, Brian and Roman, they win this race and they get these cars, a 69 Camaro and a 70 Dodge Challenger. Some nice American muscle cars.
American muscle.
That we'll see a little bit later in the movie. But we got another race here. This is it's basically a tag team match, Trey, where it's like the two guys will go first and then you got to tag them in and then you're off. And, Brian has to bring him back from the dead. Roman did a terrible job. He was way behind.
Clutch driving by Brian right here, bringing it home, winning 2 cars and saving 2 cars. Really, this is a 4-car swing. I like seeing Roman driving in an Allen Iverson The Answer sweatband on his arm. But like you're saying, a terrible lap to the point that Brian has to play chicken with, I believe it's Fonzie and Fabio here.
Yes.
Stares him down. He ain't going to do it. He's going to swerve out of the way. Brian doesn't swerve, and then he still completes the lap. Great driving by Brian. This is going to be one of my takes for later on, but major glow up from Brian driving-wise in this here movie.
Yeah, really showing off his driving skills here. And they get these cars, these older cars for, most of these 2 movies. These have been all like, I don't know what year the cars are on all these cars we've seen over the last 2, but they're definitely not from the 60s and 70s, JD. So no. We got some classics here. Maybe they wanted to draw in a different fan base into this one.
Well, this is where we're headed, though, right? The American Muscle. So in the franchise in general, I believe. But
see, I didn't even know that. Oh, great! I'm looking forward to the cars getting older, just like me. Okay, now we get to the nightclub VIP section here. The Pearl, I believe it's called. Brian and there's some flirting going on. More flirting, I guess, if you want to call it that, between Monica and Brian. Yeah. I mean, she has very little lines in this movie overall. Like, she says next to nothing. But anyway, Barone sort of sees it, and that'll come into play. But Brian and Roman, they witness Barone torturing Detective Whitworth. And this is where we get the old rat in a bucket blowtorch torture move. And they just got to sit there like 2 feet from him and watch it. Because they want this, I guess they want this detective to give Barone and his men like a window of opportunity, right? To make their getaway. Do I have that correct?
That is correct. It's one of the many cogs in a very cockamamie scheme to move his money to the plane, right? From this trailer park to the plane.
Right.
That he's laundering. But yeah, he's agreeing. He doesn't want to, but he ends up agreeing to basically giving them a 15-minute window by telling everybody to not chase after them, I guess, or to ignore any signs of disturbance, or I don't know any cop that would have that sort of power to be like,
just calling in every favor. All right, I haven't asked you for anything in a while. I need every single person I've ever asked a favor from to come through here for 15 minutes. Yeah, not a great plan.
So weird.
Very weird. And the torture. I don't know. The old rat in a bucket.
Yeah, and also if you're that guy, if you're the cop, well, lie, right?
Yeah,
like, okay, I won't do it, and then you bring every single cop that you have at your disposal down to arrest Verone or whatever. Like, yeah. I don't know, like, or just lie and get out of it, because in the end, guess what? He didn't do it.
No, he's like
his conscience got the better of him.
He literally looks at a photo of his wife and kid, and he's like, rat him. Go nuts.
Rat 'em.
Not happy with my life is right now. I'm down at the Pearl nightclub, hitting on younger women. Not getting it at home. My kid's a real pain in the ass. Yeah, just go ahead and rat him. I did get excited though with the detective in the nightclub. This was me because I've watched Sons of Anarchy. That was me pointing. I was the Leo meme. A guy from Sons of Anarchy. I like that actor.
He's
I don't
great.
know his name, but I'm a big fan.
Everybody always says I look like that guy. So
really?
Oh, yeah. He's got similar beard coloring, and he's kind of got curly grays as well. Not my favorite comparison to get.
No. He was also a corrupt cop in one of the Batman movies, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We really should know his name. This is a great actor. You see him in a lot of movies.
I think his name has Mark and Boone in it. I don't know if his name is Mark David Boone or something like that, but I feel like it's got... I'll look it up.
Okay. After this crazy torture scene where maybe he was just like, he didn't lie right away, JD, because he was like, hold on. Is this rat actually going to dig through my body? Let me see for a second. I started scratching. I was like, okay, you got me.
He wanted to give up that info. I kind of think he was lying because the damage on his stomach wasn't that serious.
No,
those were superficial wounds, and he's like, all right, okay. My kid and my wife, they can handle this. They'll be fine.
Rat them through you.
Rat them.
All right, well, the next morning, I guess we'll just jump there. Monica shows up at Brian's boathouse to warn him that they're going to be killed once this drop is made that you're going to do for Verone. I've heard, I guess maybe she overheard him talking or whatever. I don't think he told her directly at the nightclub, did he? He had that weird kiss with her, and I can't. He's like sort of threatened her.
He threatens her, but like if another man touches you, I'll kill you or something like that.
Right. So Monica again goes to tell Brian this at the boathouse. There's a kiss. They suddenly kiss.
Forgot about that.
They're in bed again, like they weren't sleeping together, but she had showed up in the morning. He's in bed. Roman's there, right? Roman sees them. There's a lot going on in this one too. Then those two henchmen show up, and then they all get into a fight. Oh yeah, then Monica like escapes because they can't know that she's there.
Right.
And then suddenly Verone, everybody's at this boathouse in a matter of like 10 minutes, and he sort of tells them to cut it all out, and that's it.
That's right. One detail you glossed over.
Yeah.
Monica soaking wet when she comes in.
Yeah. Did she swim there?
They never address it. She's just completely drenched. It's not raining, so she must have swam somehow. But they never say like she's just wet.
Funny.
Oh yeah, and we never hear like a splash. She doesn't jump back in the water.
Nope.
To swim away. She somehow escapes when again the what are their names? I think it's like Robert and Enrique or something. Roberto and Enrique, the bald guy and the other guy that end up like partnering with those two, and those two actually become impressed with the driving of Brian and Roman.
I love these guys, actually.
They're like, hey, respect. You guys are pretty damn good drivers. Okay, so that whole boat scene is just freaking weird. Even the kiss I find strange. I mean, again, JD, it just feels like we're trying to be told that they have this instant chemistry, but like outside of like looking at each other and the tiniest bit of flirting at the nightclub, it's like, whoa, we're moving. All right, we're right into it.
Yeah.
I guess maybe she thinks he's going to die and is like, well, let me get a kiss in.
Maybe that's just how women act around Paul Walker, because the guy's gorgeous. He is stunning. And there was also a throwaway line, I think, from Tyrese Roman. Something like, oh, you and the women. Brian and the women always messing up with the women. So maybe that they were trying to up that a bit or play that up a bit, or maybe there was a part of that story that just got cut. But yeah, it was the strangest non-chemistry sort of romance that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to really drive home the fact that we got to set it up that he'll do anything to save her too.
Right.
I mean, he's a cop. He should be just wanting to stop an Argentinian drug lord, but I guess he's sort of a crooked cop. So like, in theory, he could have just let Verone sail off, and it's like, okay, well, we did our part, we tried, but gotta save her because he knows that she's going to be killed by him. Maybe. Anyway, let's get to the day of the mission here. Brian and Roman, they begin transporting the duffel bags of Verone's money with those associates, we'll call them, Enrique and Roberto. I do have it in the notes here. Shout out to Wikipedia. That is their names. Which one is the bald guy? Let's call him Enrique. I don't know. Who knows? But they're riding alongside them because they're like, we got to ride with you. I guess that is the one thing we learn at the houseboat scene the day before. It's like, well, they're coming with you. Mm-hmm. Before, the window is set. Whitworth, the guy from Sons of Anarchy, he decides to call in the police. So yeah, after all that, after all the bucket and all the threats, he's like, screw it. So he calls in the cops to move, and then we get the high-speed chase here across the city, and the duo leads the police to a warehouse. And they have talked about this in advance with Ludacris, Tej. Yeah. Like, this is their big plan, all right? They go to this warehouse, they pull in, garage doors close. They're surrounded by cops because they know they're in there. And their plan is to open up all the garage doors. First off, have about 4 souped up pickup trucks just come and ram the hell out of the cops. How much are these people getting paid?
Yeah.
I guess they got the money because they're winning these high stakes races, but they just barrel into all those cops parked there. And then here come all the cars, and we get this crazy scramble with I don't know, it looks like what, 40 cars? I feel 40, 50 cars,
more,
it feels like. There's tons.
Tons, yeah.
And it disorients the cops.
10 or so pickup trucks out the gate right away, all different colors, smashing the cop cars. And then I would say there's probably 80, 90 cars.
Oh, you think it's that many? Yeah, it's possible.
There's a line out of there.
But back up for a second, because that's crucial in the plot. Because their plan is the cops' plan is to sting Verone at the airstrip, right? Mm-hmm. But Brian and Roman have this other plan where they're just going to run off with the money, right? Like that.
Yeah, I think so.
And so was that how they convinced all these people, say 100 people?
Sure.
We're going to split whatever this jackpot is, we're going to split it with you.
Yeah.
If you basically agree to being arrested, you have a very, very good chance of being arrested so that we can get away with all the money, right? Like that's...
Kind of a good point.
That's the logic there. And oh, by the way, you're probably going to smash your car as well.
Yeah, your prized possession, you're going to drive it straight into the police when you will be arrested as an accessory to a crime, but we'll give you a kickback a little bit later.
Right.
Very strange. You mentioned Skeets. It's a scramble. You can tell it's a scramble because somebody says, it's a scramble, baby. A big one.
That's true. I would have never called it that otherwise. But somebody says it's a scramble. So
is it? Yeah, I guess it is.
Here's all I thought about during that scene. All I could think about was, oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Do. It was the Thomas Crown Affair. It was the
Thomas Crown Affair.
It was the confusion move where everybody dressed the same thing and you don't know who's the real one. And they just let them all loose in the art gallery and they got Cinnamon going. They should have played it during this scene.
Yeah.
That was a couple years prior to the filming of this movie. It would have worked out. That's immediately what I thought. I was like, oh, the classic scramble Thomas Crown Affair move. Play Cinnamon. Let's go. Because, the cops are all disoriented here following this scramble. They do manage to pull over the two cars, the Evo and the Eclipse, but it's not Brian, it's not Roman, it's Tej, and it's Suki, which also is a great part. Maybe, I hope they're getting paid more for that role.
Yeah.
They could have given that to anybody, but it's got to be them. And as it turns out, the duo, they switched the cars when they were in there, and they escaped there in the two muscle cars that they won earlier. Anything to add to this?
Well, they didn't just win those cars earlier, Skeets. They also upgraded those cars for part of a mission that they're going to need here in a few minutes. This is an elaborate plan.
My God.
By Brian and Roman. They brought in another... let's say 50 people. They're going through all of these negotiations or modifications to their car to make it so they have ejector seats. They're really, how much is this payday going to be from stealing from Verone? Because at the end when they walk away, they're not walking away with enough money to be paying these people back. No. They're going to give everybody $200 and be like, well, that's it. That's it. There's a lot of overhead for this.
Yeah. And even still, you said the plan, JD, is to drive away, to take all the money.
Is it?
But is it because
I thought it was?
Maybe. Do you think that? I can't remember the order now in the movie of then when they devised the plan that we're not told about at the time, but they're talking to Tej about it and they're walking over that bridge.
Right.
By the way, I thought the bridge was going to have something to do with it. Right when they're in that tunnel bridge, that glass tunnel, I was like, oh, somebody's going to jump out of it or something. I was like, nope, it's just this warehouse place. But does that come before then Verone saying these two guys are going to be with you? The two henchmen? I can't remember the order there. So maybe it's sort of like their plan, their perfect plan is blown up a little bit because those guys are going to be involved. Though then Trey said they put in the ejector seats. Yeah. I don't know what they're doing. They think they're just going to get a bunch of money. That's the ultimate plan.
Well, either way, even if they stick with the cops' plan, they're each getting $100,000, right? Was that part of it as well? Did I dream that?
They were?
I don't know. Oh no, they were just getting their records.
They're just getting their records.
Yeah. Okay.
Wiped. Anyway, so they are in the muscle cars, and they still got these guys with them. So Brian, he approaches the destination point. He's in the Camaro, but Enrique, it is Enrique, that's the bald guy. He tells them to take a different exit. Hey, we're going to the marina. The Tarpon Point Marina.
Oh, shit.
Oh, boy. We're not going to the airfield.
Tarpon Point.
Thought we were going there. In fact, if anything, hell of a callback to the boats. Boats in the end.
Boats.
It was right there. He was telling you how he was going to escape, this Argentinian drug lord. So meanwhile, Roman, he gets rid of Roberto. He uses the improvised ejector seat in his Challenger. Peace out. So he's okay. He's got rid of his guy. But at the airfield, we got the custom agents. They've got the plane surrounded, only to discover, they've been duped. It's a decoy. Barone and his Skechers are at the boatyard several miles away. And Barone reveals that he knew Monica was an undercover agent and purposely gave her wrong information on the destination point. That was a slick move by him. You gotta...
Gotta hand it to him.
Yeah, you gotta respect him there. Maybe that's what he had that in one of his deep pockets. He hatched that plan. Because he knew. This guy picks up. This guy'd be good on Survivor. He sees like small tells. And he's like... I only told one person, and then suddenly somebody else knew. So it was you. It was
you. Had me 11 and a half months. You slipped once.
Jeez. That's
all it'll take is once.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And he was all over it. So Brian arrives at the marina. Verone forces Monica onto his private yacht and then orders Enrique to kill Brian because he's still there. Because his... Well, wait, do we know if his seat works yet? Has he tried his seat at this point? I guess he hasn't yet.
He waits. That was sort of the weird part, too, because Roman does it. It works great.
Yeah,
went sideways. Wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting him to fly out the side of the car. So that was kind of cool. And then he gets on the horn and he's just like, hey, man, I just ejected my guy. It was awesome. He just went flying. And did you eject your guy yet? He's holding him like it's not in his ear or anything. The guy's sitting right next to him. Did he not hear that whole part? Like, did he not be like? But he doesn't react at all. So hey, change of plans. We're going to the marina. And then I think he sort of lays off. When does he try to eject him? Like,
I think that's like when Enrique's going to kill him.
Right, so like they're standing still.
They're at the marina.
Yeah.
And he's like, tick, 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 and it's like, it's not working. He's trying to buzz in on Jeopardy. It's like, the timing right
disabled
on this ejector seat. Oh, I guess I forgot too. We got another harpoon at some point, right?
Oh, there was a harpoon on the highway chase for sure.
Yeah. And that's when Brian is telling Enrique, like, you got to drive, man. Yeah. You gotta drive.
Oh, that's right.
I'll keep my foot on the pedal, though. Don't worry.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to get over into my seat. I got this.
Doesn't Enrique say, I can't drive? I can't drive. Nothing to it, man.
Just go straight.
I can't drive. You really don't need to drive. Literally just push the gas, man. Push your foot down. You know how to stand up?
But you said it, Trey. He doesn't even slide over to put his foot on the gas. They actually go to a close-up of Brian's like Converse, like his tippy toes still pressing it while he's reaching out the side of his car to pull out this damn harpoon that doesn't even exist in real life. Oh, what a scene. Anyway, back to the marina. So,
I love it. They hit him with the harpoon. It slows the car down to 40 miles an hour. Like, they're showing the speedometer, and the cops still, like, cannot catch him. No. They're like, oh, man, 40? I don't know. I don't know how to drive.
Yeah, if you're the cops in Miami there, or the FBI, I guess it sort of is, like, stop putting so much money into these like harpoons that like try and take the car down. Like, get your wheels better, like, so you can go a little faster than a 40 mile per hour car. Enrique prepares to kill Brian. The injector seat fails, but Roman suddenly appears and just like basically rear ends him, right? He just like hits the car, helps Brian to take out Enrique because he's sort of phased. Verone's making his escape on his super yacht, and I'll just jump right to it, just like they did. Brian and Roman just drive along. I mean, we don't even really see a ramp. I love this part. They're just like,
Well, we literally see him crash into a gate or like through a boathouse or something. It's car point of view, and then it just goes into. It's not a dock. It's not a pier. It just seems to be a gate or some sort of wall with water behind it. So he would have had to crash through that. I mean, can you imagine in real life, you're driving along and you just decide, split second, I got to get this car onto that boat. Can you, like, just the physics wrapping your head around. I've never been down this road before. All I know is that the boat's there, and here seems like a good place.
Yeah, like,
and I'm going for it.
I mean, he just like gets so damn lucky with the way the boat is lined up in the water, and then where the ramp is. First off, there just being a ramp into the water. Why? No one knows. That goes up, and then he just places that bad boy right on top of that boat. Basically perfect, Trey.
Yeah. Did he even hit the NOS? I don't think he even hit NOS to be able to boost and get a super jump. You would think you would need that. Man, I can't believe this. Did they have Ludacris open up the bridge in the first race so that we could know Brian is a car jumping machine?
Yes, 100%.
That is absolutely.
He must have used nitro at.
He must have. He must have went nitro there.
Yeah, he had to.
I don't think there was any nitro left because they used it for the ejection. And
good point. His ejection seat was clearly failing too, right? Like he's like, so he couldn't access the second one.
That's American muscle for you.
American muscle.
True. Yeah, so he gets it up on top of the yacht. And then Brian shoots and wounds Verone, who had a gun too. He had a shotgun, I think, because he was about to shoot them, but he gets him in the shoulder, takes him down, and then he's arrested by Monica. And then, to wrap it up, Markham grants Brian and Roman full pardons. That's great. In return, Roman turns over the second half of Verone's money. This gets really weird here. So he just wants to clear his conscience, I guess. Or it's all part of the plan. Like, if I give this bunch of money back, which I don't know why the cops wouldn't have known existed anyway. Like, there's 2 cars. Your goal was to transport this money to Verone, which we thought was going to be the airfield. Like, anyway. But maybe it's the plan is, like, if we just go ahead and say, hey, here's the second set of duffel bags with all the money, and that allows them to then secretly pocket a bunch of money in their drawers, I guess, because that's what they do. That's what we see at the end. The 2 agree to stay in Miami, Brian and Roman. They're buddies again. He suggests opening a garage, funded by a cut of Verone's money there that Roman kept for themselves. He stole a cigar cutter. He can steal a bunch of money, and that's the movie.
It is interesting that whole part was so awkward, right? Like, here are the 3 bags of money. Wait 1 second. They take the time to shoot all of this. It's like, you could have just said there was an extra bag and we have it. Yay. Like, what's the difference? I mean...
I know. Why wouldn't I thought they were going to... This is where my mind was going. I was like, in the mad scramble, they've, like, planted different bags or something like that. In other cars or put other things in the bag, like we've seen in a million movies before too. But yeah, instead it was just like, hey, you know what? Here's the other car's trunk load of money. And then they walk away. I'm like, by the way, like, wait until you're like more than 20 yards away from the cops to be like, look at, got him. It's like they can hear you.
Me too.
If we've learned anything, like I said at the start of this podcast, people can be 500 yards away with 10 cars revving their engines, and they can hear whatever the hell you're saying. So I'm sure the cops heard you guys. But yeah, that's the movie. That's the entire plot there for the most part.
For a climax of a Fast and Furious movie, having seen the ones down the road, a little anticlimactic.
Very.
Totally.
Like, what the stunt or the sequence of the car jumping and landing on the boat was pretty spectacular for the budget, for the time. But then there's this. Then they literally just sit in the car once it's on the boat, right? And there's this sort of a long time of them just sort of recovering from the actual crashing into the boat, right? Like, Brian's just like, oh God. Like, is his nose broken? He's not bleeding or anything. And then Roman, I think I broke my arm. You know, and then he just peeks over the top and they shoot him, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay, all right, here we go. Here's the final climactic scene, and it's like, no.
Got him.
Monica's got the gun, and
Yep.
it's over.
It was quick. You're right. And then
Very
they
quick.
were basically just like shaking hands between the cops and the guys. Everybody's good.
Yeah.
You guys are clear. And we're off. And there's also like nothing, unless I'm forgetting it. Monica and Brian, do they even have like a goodbye? Like, do they say like
really?
Remember.
Not really.
I was like, all right. Good working with you.
Nice. Good working with you.
Thanks for that kiss that one time. Hey, by the way, did you jump in the water to swim to my boat? How did you get here? Did you have a shower while I was sleeping with your clothes on? What's going on there? They just wrap it up. Anyway, that's Too Fast, Too Furious. So
The other question I had about the jump from the car onto the boat. Nobody else on the boat?
Yeah.
Just Carter and Monica? Nobody else is coming up to see what happened? Is Carter the one piloting the boat? Is he the captain here? And now that he's been taken out, this thing is just going down the ocean?
Yeah, it's a great point.
This is a strange plan. They're like, we're going to jump on there. Then we'll be there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll wing it from there, which, I guess that's kind of the point of Fast and Furious, but you got to have some backup if you're international drug lord trying to escape the country with millions of dollars on a massive boat. You should have one other person there. One other person you can trust.
Yeah, so I've been getting ready to do this Everlane ad, and they want us to start off with some warm weather pleasures. But I'm looking at the suggestions from Everlane, and the first one is enjoying a cup of iced coffee. Gross. I hate iced coffee.
Same here.
Yeah, it's so overrated. It's cold coffee. It's supposed to be hot,
disgusting,
guys. Yeah.
It's cold coffee.
The next thing is a big scoop of vanilla ice cream. What? No. Lee had the right idea. You got to add something to vanilla ice cream, like hot fudge or a shot of espresso from your very, very expensive coffee machine. You know, the simple pleasures. Yeah. And finally, a classic white t-shirt. Yeah, no, strike three, Everlane. I am a total slob, and I know I'm getting a single drop of espresso or red wine on a white shirt and it's ruined. But then they sent me this white, organic, premium weight slub crew, and I love it. It's I put it on.
It's comfy.
Didn't even have to wash it. Immediately the most comfortable thing in my wardrobe. Ooh. And I got some French Terry sweatpants, Lee. I'm a cool pants dad now.
You know it, JD. You know it.
So, yeah, and I also heard Everlane kills it in the denim game, right? But as I've mentioned on the show before, I've put on some extra pandemic weight that I'm carrying around, so I'm not about to order jeans. But I did order a classic blue wash denim jacket, which is so soft, I'm going back to Everlane to snap up all the jeans using our promo code NODUGS. As the great Stacey London once said, shop for the body you have, not the body you want. Right, guys?
Nice.
That's right.
Everlane has all the everyday essentials you need, from damn good denim to super soft loungewear. And Everlane partners with the best and most ethical factories in the world for a fit to feel good about. Oh, I like that. All uniform clothing comes with a 365-day guarantee. I love that guarantee. Not sure what uniform clothing is. What is that? Just the basics, right? Like uniform?
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This shirt is a uniform. It fits into the uniform. So I got a year guarantee on this thing. So I'll be sending it back with that red wine stain on it at some point. Go to everlane.com/nodunks and sign up for 10% off your first order plus free shipping, and get easy returns with 30 days from your ship date. That's 10% off your first order when you go to everlane.com and sign up.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Check out betterhelp.com/nodunks. Life is full of stressors. Doesn't matter who you are, what you have, your life is probably stressful at times. Relationships, jobs, money, that's a lot of stress. I'm feeling it right now with upcoming travel. eventually going to be going home in a couple of months. And, you know, you just got to, like, there's stress of, like, seeing people. Well, first off, just traveling right now is obviously still a little weird. Getting there, how are we going to get around? How are we going to see everybody? You know, it's stress. So unload the stress and get it out. Talk to someone who's completely unbiased about your life. Someone who isn't going to judge you or take sides on anything. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. So unload the stressors and get some unbiased feedback. You'll probably be pretty surprised at what you might gain from it. And why not just see if it's for you? This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and No Dunks listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/nodunks. That's BETTERHELP.com/nodunks. All right, well, let's get to the fast. Favorite scene, car, or quote? JD, you can start us off here. Where do you want to go?
My favorite scene is the relay race. I enjoyed that. The relay when they're trying to get the muscle cars against Fonzie and what's the other? Fabio and Fonzie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I thought that sequence, the first race is spectacular, visually stunning, and a big stunt at the end. But this one, I thought the pacing of it was awesome. I loved seeing Roman fuck up, and then Paul Walker has to bail him out, and he does so in a spectacular fashion by playing chicken, like old-fashioned chicken.
Yep.
You know, and you knew where everybody was, and like a lot of the races and a lot of stuff that happens, it just kind of washes over me. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, meh,
it's like disorienting. Yeah,
it's totally disorienting. But this one, I knew exactly what was happening. I knew exactly what was at stake, and I thought it was quite well done, actually. So shout out to John Singleton.
Yeah, I liked that race too. I liked how they. I even liked how the second set of cars that were ready to race were like sort of off to the side, and that the first cars could scream back, and then you got to go. Just the way that was set up was good, and I'm all cheering them on. Okay, do you have a favorite car and quote then?
My favorite car is Sookie's car. I'd just love to know how she got pink flames to come out of that thing. Did you notice that? Like the actual flames were pink.
Yep.
And my favorite quote. I rewound this 3 times. My family was going to kill me, but we show up at the warehouse, and Bilkins shows up in this shirt, and Brian says to him, "Hey, nice shirt." And all he says is, "It's my day off."
Bilkins is awesome in this movie.
Bilkins is great. Oh my God, I laughed so hard.
And there's Dunn in a shirt with a car on it, poser. He doesn't know shit about cars.
We don't believe you, Dunn.
Yeah, get out of here, Dunn. All right, great stuff. TK, same 3 questions for you.
Well, as a gearhead, I also loved car chase scene. I loved the highway escape chase from when they leave to Tarpon Point, or whatever you want to call it. It's the car driving is great, lots of action, and I think there's the added tension of having Enrique and Roberto sitting right next to Roman and Brian, which then gives you some great comic relief. One of my favorite lines in the whole movie is when Brian pulls off some crazy move and the henchman sitting next to him says, "You're a good driver, man."
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, bro.
He's so earnest, the guy.
I know. I thought that was great. I thought those 2 guys were actually hilarious. They get some lines in for sure. They don't have much to do but be the intimidating henchmen, but at least they get some jokes in. Another one of my favorite lines happens in that same scene when Roman finally uses his ejector seat, or as he calls it, Ejecto seato! Ejecto seato. I thought that was great. Very funny. And then it obviously goes into this totally absurd set piece where 50 drivers are coming out, risking their livelihoods and also their freedom for Roman, who got to Miami a couple of weeks earlier. They barely know Brian. He hasn't been there for that long. They can't know Roman very long, but they're all willing to risk it for these 2 guys. I thought that action, the highway chase scene, up until they get to the garage. That's my favorite part of the movie for sure.
I'll just go right to my favorite quote because it is it's near the end. It's the scramble. It's the big plan where they're all coming out. There's 80 to 90 to 100 cars. How many cars there are? They go to the woman in the chopper, and she goes, "Holy shit!" That's all she says. And I laughed so hard. She's like, never seen this many cars, I guess, before. You're in a chopper. You're seeing that many cars all the time. Holy shit. Maybe she's never seen a scramble like that before. And,
it's a big one.
There's a couple I noticed lines where they go to cops that we've never met. We don't know their names of. Like her, there's another guy. And like they have just like these reaction lines like that they've given like them 1 or 2 lines. They made me laugh every single time. So I like that. I like that he did the stare and drive. I like that whole nonsense. Funny. And honestly, the nightclub was so funny to me. Like it was so weird, the nightclub. Nora pointed out like they're sitting in chairs that look like crab legs.
Yeah.
When they were flirting the one time, Brian and Monica. The decor is like just insane. And I mean, if I could pick any role in these movies so far, I've only seen 2 of them. Excited for the rest of them. But I would have loved to have been a background dancer in the Pearl nightclub scene. I kept watching people in the background dancing. I love that role. I think it would just be a funny thing to say. I was in Too Fast, Too Furious. I was a background dancer at the nightclub. So some of my random favorites.
It's another one of those like written or imagined by someone who's never been to a nightclub before. You know? And I love as well, like they sort of portray when there's this great shot when they're entering, it's following Brian and Roman into the nightclub, two of the best looking guys on earth, but they're sort of like, they sort of make them dopey and sort of like fish out of water, like, you know, the room would stop if those two walked in, right? Like it's just they're pure sex walking in. It doesn't matter how big of a shirt you put on Paul Walker. The guy is a god, and you know, it just this sort of insinuating that this is they're fish out of water. This is not our scene kind of thing, and it's just like. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it, you know, like. Yeah,
because Whitworth is there, like, picking up chicks at the bar.
Right,
and
exactly.
He's hanging his own. That's a great point. Okay, let's get to the Furious. Dumbest scene, other things you hated. Trey, let's start with you. What made you furious with Too Fast, Too Furious?
I think it's the rat torture. I don't know. I've been going back and forth so many times on if I think it's awesome or if I think it's so stupid. All the respect in the world for upping the ante from just covering a guy's face and mouth in oil to putting a very angry rat on his stomach, coming up with like medieval tortures only in the Fast and Furious franchise. Like, come on, guys, we can probably update your torture methods from something that's happened in the past 500 years. But I kind of love it just because it's such a weird thing. I guess you get the little bit of added intrigue of like Monica is kind of gagging him, right? Like not letting Whitworth talk, and they're like, "Whoa, did you see that? She enjoyed it." I was like, she looks like she was just helping.
Dude, you shot at a cop like an hour ago.
Easy, bud.
Yeah, she's got to play the part too, man. Like, okay.
Yeah. I think that was supposed to be part of the tension of the story, right? Like, is she with Verone or isn't she, right?
Really?
Like,
wow.
I think that's what they were going for. I don't think that they were effective at all.
Right.
You know, because there's that scene where we first meet Verone and he kind of slaps her on her ass and they're just alone together and it's like, as the audience, is she with him or not? And they sort of allude to that at the beginning when Brian they're first recruiting him and they're like, oh, you think she might have flipped? And then Markham is like, no, she's one of mine. She would never flip or whatever.
Right.
But there's always doubt sort of throughout the movie. And I think maybe that's what they were going for in the climax where he's wounded, Verone's wounded, and these guys are stuck in the car and, she shows up and she's actually a cop again. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it, but very poorly executed, that part of the story, in my opinion.
JD, is there anything that you actually hated or you thought was dumb, made you furious?
Oh, I hated most of this movie, let's be honest. I mean, I don't like it when my intelligence is insulted, you know? So the whole plan, I can suspend my disbelief for so much, you know. There's only so much. Like, if I'm a drug lord and I want to get my money out of Miami, I'm not hiring two fast car drivers, you know, to bomb through the city and get it to an airstrip. Like, it's just, it's the dumbest thing of all time. Like, it's just, you get somebody, an old lady in a Chevette, to very quietly take it out of the wall and then just put it to the airport. I mean, but then there's no movie, right? So. Right. I think, I think there's a really a blown opportunity here with Monica's character and Brian. Monica, in the exact same situation that Brian was in for Fast and Furious. She is an undercover cop who may or may not have cozied too much up to this drug lord, you know, for all we know, Vroom, he could have been all about family too. He could have been, you know, hey, he's just misunderstood, you know, and then Brian and Monica could have been, he's trying to pull her out, but she's in the exact same situation that he was in, and he ended up leaving the force because of it. So I thought that would have been way more interesting than what they gave us, but it's not that kind of movie, obviously. So, you know, I guess I'm fine with it, but you know, again, what I hated most was my intelligence being insulted. Yeah. And I know that that's going to happen more as we move through this franchise. So I guess I'm fine with it. But this one, it sort of annoyed me.
Yeah, and there's also, you know, I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. Having seen the turbocharged prelude to the Too Fast, Too Furious, yes, where an uncredited, voiceless Minka Kelly recognizes Brian O'Connor as the guy they're having a nationwide manhunt for. A drug lord is like, never seen this guy before. Let's hire this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, maybe you're like, okay, he left the cops. You do know that part of his story. But still, like, people are looking for this guy. It's quite obvious that people are looking for this guy, and he's not that hard to find. He's going to be driving the brightest, loudest, fastest car that's out there. There's going to be eyeballs on Brian O'Connor. Come on, Carter.
That's a great point. The thing I hated the most about this movie, it's a weird one. Why does Brian keep saying, how about them apples?
Oh.
He says it twice. Like, you're not from Boston, man.
How about them apples? He does say it.
He says it once, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, he's from Barstow. That's right, not Boston.
I was like, he said it once, and like, all right, I'm fine, whatever. They threw it in there. Shout out to Matt Damon. Then he says it again, and I'm like, what the hell? Why is this like he's saying? It was strange.
He just likes to say it.
Yeah, he just likes to say it.
Well, I wonder, because I did read that some of the dialogue for comedic effect was improvised, so maybe that's what maybe that was just he had it chambered twice.
Maybe.
And it's slipped into the edit, but
like Michael Scott at improv, he can't stop pulling a gun on people. Paul Walker can't stop improvising with, how you like them apples? Like, Paul, something else, man.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that's a reason for it, because he says it twice in this movie, and the second time, really, I was like, come on, what is going on here? Okay, so, Mi Familia. Family is everything, guys. So this is where we get a question, or maybe even just an observation from one of our wives. Could be Rachel, could be Nora, could be Laura. I think, TK, we're going to go with you. Did Laura watch this with you for your what would be your second or third watching of this movie, or what was her takeaway?
She had two observations. Number one, very excited to see Ludacris early. Let out a Luda!
Oh.
Yeah, nice. Much loved in our generation. We didn't really
talk about him much in this movie.
No.
He was fine. Totally
He was fine. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like he was as minor of a character in this movie as both Ja Rule in the first movie and Jesse in the first movie, right? Like, right. I mean, Jesse does get involved in the drama with Johnny Tran eventually, but in general, they're like background characters. Ludacris turns this into a career. He goes from being a rapper to an actor, starting with this movie, which I think is pretty crazy. Instrumental in the Fastiverse. And her second observation, Laura, was that there's no way I'm watching two Fast and the Furious movies in a row, which is what I did when I watched these. I watched Fast 1, then Fast 2. So she got about 3 minutes into this one before pulling the plug, and I was like, come back for number 4. Just come back for number 4, baby.
Oh, jeez. Don't even watch 3, you're saying? We got to watch Tokyo Drift? Oh, boy. Oh, I've heard crazy things about it. I can't wait. Okay, that is a good point. And just like, speaking of Ludacris's character, how baller is that garage in Miami that it's on the water,
Oh,
JD?
yeah.
Like, location is everything. What a place.
It was actually confusing because we see Brian and Roman are reacting first, right? And then there's a shot to jet skis racing, and like we're on the water all of a sudden. I'm like, what is this, a continuity problem? Where are we? And then you realize, no, the garage is on the water, and they're betting on jet ski races, which is, I guess, a thing. Is that what people do? They race jet skis and bet on them?
Yeah, you gotta be. I mean, maybe it's a lucrative industry, servicing luxury racing cars. But it doesn't feel like Ludacris is making a ton of money from that. So he's got to be able to be skimming a little on the gambling thing as well. Would you rather have, if you were the owner of a garage, would you rather it be a garage / jet ski racing course,
right,
like Tej's was, or would you rather it be a garage / cafe like Dom Toretto's was?
Oh, jet ski, 100%.
Totally.
I mean, he's got the setup of this place is incredible. It's a huge garage, and then like the back spills out on this body of water. It's like
gorgeous.
There's like a patio.
Spot.
Yeah, it's incredible. I couldn't get over it. Like, where is this place? This is amazing. I've never ever seen a garage for cars on the water.
No, never.
But this guy.
Why would you put a garage on the water? It doesn't make any sense.
Place. Maybe he's also, souping up boats on the other side. I don't know. Maybe that's what he's doing.
He should serve tuna sandwiches. You know, if you're gonna have a garage on the water, that's the perfect place to serve tuna sandwiches.
Oh, that would have been such a funny throwaway line.
Oh, totally.
Like, do you serve tuna sandwiches? That would have been amazing. Any other random observations? Trey took one of mine. The Iverson Answer wristband that Roman Tyrese was wearing at one point. And the other thing, like fashion related, I saw was it was really early in the movie. It may have been like the first scene. We get the just like FF1, gotta have all these classic chicks just hanging out by cool cars, and we got them right away in that first scene when Brian comes and races. 2 of them are wearing a fedora. I was like, wow.
Stanzo brand, I heard they're nice.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it.
There was also during that scene, Suki's crew, a couple of them were wearing shirts that just said porn. Is that a brand or something, or is
like
it
Barbie crew or whatever?
Yeah, one of just like a star and then porn. So maybe a porn star is the connotation there. But I don't know. But I'm just like, all right, sure. She likes porn. Who doesn't?
Suki, I always actually laughed every time Brian and Suki would see each other. They just do a beautiful kiss on the cheek, like they were European or something like that. They did it every single time they saw each other. It made me chuckle. Suki, is she stick around? You can tell us, Trey. Is she for the long run? No,
I don't think she's been back.
Oh,
has she made? I don't think so.
No?
Not a big role, at least.
Okay.
I'll have to go
What
into the
about
archives.
what about the mechanic? I like him too. I know he's MC Jin in real life. I forget his name in the movie. No, Jimmy.
Mm-mm.
Oh, Jimmy. Yeah.
What about Orange Julius?
I don't think Orange Julius. Maybe he's had a cameo.
Okay, that'd be nice. So we know Luda's sticking around.
Luda's sticking around. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say from movie number 2.
Well, let's rank this. We've got 2 under our belt now. JD, I got 2 questions. 1, was this a good sequel? I think I know your answer to that. And then, well, I guess I got 3 questions. 2, how would you rate Too Fast, Too Furious out of 10? And then where does it fall in your leaderboards with the first one?
Okay, so is it a good sequel? I mean, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because there's no Vin Diesel. And I think that Vin's reasoning, as I read it, and I could be wrong, but his problem was that it didn't really progress the story. It was just basically a retelling in a different setting, right?
Right.
Which is what we got. It was sort of like,
it's true.
I felt like it was like if Lifetime decided to make a Fast and Furious movie, this would be it. Like, it just felt like a very light version of Fast and Furious, sort of like an after-school special or a romance almost, you know, with no romance in it. So no, I wouldn't say it's a good sequel. My rating, I'm gonna give it a 1.
Whoa.
Just, it's low. I did not enjoy this movie. I was, you know, there's no way that I would have finished this movie if we weren't doing a podcast about it and I had to talk about it. There's just no fucking way I would have finished
When would you have turned it off? Let's see.
As soon as Ludacris rose that bridge in the first race, I would have been like, I'm out.
Okay.
I'm out.
Okay.
So, yeah, the leaderboard is Fast and Furious number 1, Too Fast, Too Furious number 2.
Hey, that's perfect.
So it works out that way.
Yeah, so far so good. Trey, specifically, where do you sort of, how does this hold up to number 1 in your eyes?
The best thing about this movie is the name. Too Fast, Too Furious, a legendary name for a sequel.
You're right.
As a sequel, though, I am with JD and I am with Vin Diesel. This is like the definition of a non-essential sequel. I think Vin's quote is, "They didn't treat it like Francis Ford Coppola."
But that's true. That's a good point.
He's right, though. He's right. And honestly, like, what becomes of Fast and Furious, it becomes a saga where things are building on each other.
True.
But that was not the case for this movie, and you can tell, right? It just feels like, I think Vin said, they treated it like an 80s or a 90s sequel where they just make another story and slap a name on it. And that's definitely what it feels like to me. I really think the movie's missing Vin's gravitas. You know, Paul Walker and Tyrese, they're both cool guys. Vin brought that, like, the mystery, the brooding, and you kind of need that contrast between your main characters. And there's also, like, a severe lack of tension in this movie. I think in the first one, you're worried, is Dom going to find out that Brian is a cop? Like, that's a huge source of tension. Is Brian going to find out that Dom is the guy in charge of the hijackings? That's a huge source of tension. Here, like we're saying, the big tension is kind of like, is Carter Verone going to find out that Monica is a cop? Huh? Like, that's the real big question
never spend
here.
Any time with them at all.
Exactly, and she has almost nothing to do. You don't really know anything about their relationship. You don't even know if Brian and Monica like each other, and that's like the biggest question in the movie. That is a problem to me. So I'm rating this Too Fast, Too Furious. I'll give it a 4. It's number 2 on my power rankings right now, and I think it's going to stay at the bottom. This is the one that I least look forward to rewatching every time it comes up, because this is not the first time I've rewatched this franchise. And this is always the biggest ask. Too Fast, Too Furious. Yeah, not my favorite.
Well, I agree with you guys. The plot sucks in this movie. That's the problem. Thank God Tyrese is in it, because I do find their chemistry, at least enjoyable. It doesn't seem like too fake between Brian and Roman there, so I like that part. But otherwise, it's like, what is going on half the time? I hate the fucking harpoons, and that you can then pull them out of your car. That's the other part. Not
if you get it off your car, it's fine.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like, come on. I hate that more than a car jumping over another car off a bridge or a car jumping onto a boat. I actually do. It's like there's something about that drove me nuts. I'll put this one. I think I gave it a 7.5 to the first one. I'm going to go low. I'm going to go 2.5 here for Too Fast, Too Furious. I did see Roger Ebert, the great Roger Ebert, wrote, "It doesn't have a brain in its head, but it's made with skill and style, and boy, it is fast and furious." So you're right. It's the best thing about this movie is the name. Of course, having Fast and Furious still in there, but the Too Fast, Too Furious. Nice poster, too. My favorite poster so far.
Good
of the
poster.
two movies.
Yeah,
It does look
it's
good.
great.
Like that neon Miami vibes is fun, but
I read the review by Ebert as well, and it reminded me why I love Roger Ebert, is my favorite movie critic, and I usually agree with him. But goddamn, he reveals literally every plot point in his review, like everything, including the warehouse scramble, all of it. It's all there. He just doesn't give a fuck. He's just like,
he's like, I'm going to save you time. Just read this.
Yeah. But he recommended it. He gave it 3 stars, I think. So.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's
That's the great thing about Ebert. He would always judge a movie based on what it was, right?
Yep.
Like, he would always, if it was supposed to be a popcorn, just a fun movie, that's how he would rate it. So I disagree with him on this one, but yeah, it's worth reading that any review by Ebert is great, but the one for this is awesome.
All right. Well, what's next? Third installment, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift from 2006. TK, what do we need to know heading into this third movie? Which, by the way, I don't know why, I always thought Tokyo Drift was number 4 in this series, but here it is at number 3. It's up next. Set it up for us.
If you thought Too Fast, Too Furious was a weird sequel, just wait for Tokyo Drift.
Oh boy.
Not only are we in a different country, we've got different racing and an entirely new cast of characters. What? Completely new.
So,
really?
Hold on. Paul Walker's not even in the third one?
Nope.
What is going on in this franchise?
Hold on.
We take away... Dom's the best in the first one. They take away him
gone.
for the second one. And then Paul's okay. He's fine.
He gone.
Those baby blue eyes all day. He's gone in the third. What's going on?
You're not even getting Tyrese.
No?
You're not even getting Eva Mendes.
What about Ludacris?
Nope.
So it's an entirely new cast. Is there any connection at all?
Well, that's the craziest thing about Tokyo Drift, Skeets. You said, I thought this was number 4. It's number 3 on release order. However, it technically falls between the 6th movie and the 7th movie on the Fast timeline.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not
But
know that.
it is major shoehorning in between 6 and 7 to make it work, because we've talked about a couple of times, clearly this was not going to be a massive franchise that they made 10 movies of.
No, not.
But they ended up, yeah, exactly. Once they started with 4, once they hit on that formula, they knew this was going to be a franchise. They had to figure out how things that happened in number 3 could eventually happen with the current timeline.
Oh my god.
But you don't need to know that at all to watch Tokyo Drift, because they didn't know that at all. That's weird. Right. It is weird.
Wow. Okay. So, guys,
I'm super intrigued. This is great. I love a season of Survivor when it's all new people. So that's what it feels like. It's just a whole new game.
Yeah, you know what? Especially with the way we're tackling this, with the binge watch, we could probably use this. You're right.
Totally.
What are we gonna see from Paul Walker at this point now? I mean, he's Brian O'Connor. We love him. He's fine, but he's not gonna give us much else. So I'm with you, JD. I'm actually excited for a whole new cast, and of course we're in Tokyo, and the Olympics there this summer. Perfect. Absolutely perfect synergy, if you ask me. Now I think, guys, if you want to watch this one with us, I believe you can stream it on Fubo TV, or you can rent or buy on Amazon, Google Play, and iTunes. I don't think this one is on HBO Max like the first 2 were.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, going to make it a little more difficult for all of us to get our hands on it. Trey probably has the DVD somewhere in his house.
Not anymore. Not after moving.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Oh, man. Okay, well, we'll have to stream it online. But join us for the third installment here of Fast Friends. We will be watching The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift from 2006. If you have questions for Fast Friends, email them in. nodunks@theathletic.com. Just put Fast Friends in the subject header. Always a blast talking cars with you guys and harpoons, yachts, cash, and fedoras on sexy women. What a series. I can't wait to talk about the third one. Everybody take care.